So with the new season of Shinobi Striker coming, and we know that it's going to be the villains, today I'm deciding to give you one of my DLC concepts, and if you don't remember my prediction, it's going to be Kakazu, Koji Kashin, Hidan, and I'm making the change and I'm switching Code or Delta or one of them to a character that people reminded me of, and it's Kimimaro. I do think that he had be fixed the bill a little bit better than the other characters I was predicting. But today I'm going to be giving you a concept of Hidan, man. We don't really know what class he could be. I'd probably say maybe attack, defense, or maybe even healer. Maybe healer, since we do know that he's immortal. But we're going to be giving you our concept for him today and let you know our thoughts. Let me know in the comments how you actually feel about my concept. And also I'll make sure to pin some of the videos up there of some of the other concepts that I've done with characters. I've already done Koji Kashin, and I've done a few other characters like Code and stuff as well, man. But if this is something you think you might be interested in, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn the bell, do all those nice things. And make sure to let me know in the comments how do you actually feel about my concept and which things you agree with and which things you don't agree with, man. But let's go ahead and hop straight into this concept.
Bring it on, little Suzuki. You want to see what true resolve is? I'll show you.
Alright, so when we're talking about Hidan, man, some key points you gotta remember. This character is going to be very much combat focused on their weapon. Main of the strengths are going to come from the weapon. I think there's a little bit of difficulty when it comes to implementing his curse in this game, and I also do think this character is going to deal a lot of bleed damage, and I think it's going to have some of the most non-diverse abilities in Shinobi Striker because Hidan is pretty much a straightforward character. But if you don't remember Hidan's jutsu, I'll actually explain it to you so you can understand what it does. Basically what Hidan does, he'll collect your blood. Once he collects your blood, he'll draw a circle, and when he's in this circle, any pain that he inflicts on himself will be inflicted on the user whose blood he was able to get. Now, some things about this ability is, whenever he goes outside of the circle, he can no longer use the curse, but he can re-enter the circle at will and activate the curse again whenever he wants to. Also, once he has your blood, he can reactivate the curse whenever he wants to just by drawing another circle. And even though Hidan doesn't die from this damage that is inflicted, he does feel the pain, and he actually started to love this pain and inflicting pain on others. So the way that I actually think this would work in Shinobi Striker, man, some of the basic things that we get, like just some of the basic rewards, I think we get a Shinobi boost, of course. I think we can get the Hidan outfit with him actually having his hair. We already have the outfit in the game, but Hidan's hair I think will be a nice thing to throw in the game. Also, I think we can get Hidan's outfit but with it ripped. We have the normal version, but if they can make it where it's damaged whenever he was actually fighting Shikamaru, I think that'd be pretty cool. I also think we can get something from Boruto from maybe a character that you didn't remember. I'm not really sure if this was a filler arc, I'm pretty sure it was, but from Ryuki, who was basically like a copycat of Hidan. I think it'd be pretty cool if maybe they gave us the outfit and the hairstyle of him, especially since he had a little bit of a cooler hairstyle. And I think we'd get the honorary title Follower of Jashin. With also us getting a weapon, I think we'd get a proper defense scythe for Hidan. And I think the way this one would work, I think it'd work pretty similar to the normal scythe, but maybe if they made it an SS plus weapon, maybe they can make it where it actually deals a bleed damage whenever you get a certain combo off. And I also think the heavy would change to maybe being able to use the rope that Hidan uses whenever he's fighting with this splat staff. This will allow you to actually get some better distance, some better range. And I think this would make a pretty nice defense weapon because I do think the original scythe is pretty good, but it'd be even better if you had better range from the heavy. As far as the jutsus for Hidan, like I said, we're going with the concept of thinking this could work for attack, defense, or healer. Only class that I really think is just completely out of this is range type, since Hidan is not really a ranged character. But the first jutsu would be the radial slash. And the way this works, the user spins their weapon in a circle, striking all nearby enemies. Enemies hit are left with bleeding damage. This can be used to break combos and ignore guards. So I think this would work similar to Bloody Blow, where you can use this to get somebody off of you, and this is unblockable. And I think this also, the bleed damage wouldn't be something that's too crazy. I think it'd work a little bit similar maybe to how it would go with poison, and maybe another thing that could happen with the bleed, maybe you're blinking red so you can know that you're actually bleeding. That's the main thing that I think Hidan would be able to do as a character to maybe make him unique, is adding a new status element, which is bleed. The second ninjutsu would be the curse technique, blood ritual. And the way this works is the user slashes an enemy collecting their blood. Additional input will place a mark on the ground. Additional input over the mark again will deal a critical strike to the marked enemy, causing bleed damage. The mark disappears after elapsed time or after additional input. This attack is unguardable. So both parts would be unguardable. It wouldn't break your guard, but if they hit you with the initial slash, they would still collect your blood. I think think this is one of the key things with Hidan, is that you weren't able just to guard his attacks with your arm or something like that. You had to use an actual blade, because if he got your blood, it was over. And that was one of the key things with Hidan, so I don't think it'd be right for this move to be unblockable. Basically, he slashes you, and even the critical strike after is unblockable. So the only way to actually prevent this move would be to keep your distance, or maybe be able to try to predict when your opponent is trying to use this move. Now, some way to make this balance, I don't think the range for this move would be the most amazing, and that would make it where it's a little bit more where you have to time it at the right time to be able to get this off, especially with it being so powerful and being unblockable. And the final move would be the ultimate. I kind of had to just come up with something, but the ultimate would be Joshin Immortality. And the user uses the power of Joshin. While in the state, the user heals rapidly and is immune to flinching. All melee strikes inflict bleed damage and ignore guard. Using Blood Ritual in this state instantly kills your opponent. So this would be an ultimate that actually interacts with the jutsu if you have the Blood Ritual on. If you don't have it on, then you don't get this benefit, but I think this will be something that really makes this like a good pairing. And like, it was kind of hard to come up with something with, you know, Hidan, because he pretty much just does the same thing using, you know, his technique. Of course, I looked at Storm and they had like a special ultimate, but at the end of the day, it's still basically him using his curse. So I think that this would just be very nice to amplify the curse. And of course, you also get some of those healing effects, and not flinching would make it a little bit easier for you to actually activate the ritual. And one thing I didn't mention about the ninjutsu, the Blood Ritual, once your blood is collected, they can continually hit you with the unblockable damage until you die. Once you die, I think it would reset, and you'd have to maybe collect the blood again. Maybe they could have like a unique thing over the character letting you know that you have their blood or something like that, some way to, you know, keep track of it, because it's obvious they can keep track of when a move hits you more than once, because they did it with the sand coffin with Gaara, where it deals more damage as you get hit with the sand coffin more and more over time, man. But this would basically be my concept for Hidan. Nothing too crazy, but I do think he'd bring some pretty interesting moves to the game that some characters and some people would definitely be able to mess with and make some pretty interesting builds out of it. Let me know if you would be happy if this was the type of Hidan that we got to the game. Also, let me know if you have an idea for a substitution, if you think he could bring a substitution to a game, or maybe even some other Ninja Tool, man. But I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all those things so you can see future videos like this. Definitely make sure to like this video up if you want to see another concept, which would be over Kakazu, and maybe we'll give you one for Kimimaru as well, man. But hope y'all enjoyed this, and I will see y'all in the next one. We up.